like this. The secret of this dish is to cut the beef nice and thin so it coats really well with the corn flour, which will make it nice and crispy. And it'll also take up all the flavours of the chili and all the other things I put in there. Now, if you're worried about doing this, of course your butcher will do this for you. Just let him know. And see, I've got these little tiny strips like this. That's what you want. Beautiful little cubes. And this would be great to eat with a pair of chopsticks. You can, of course, cut this a little bit thicker if you want, but I reckon this is the perfect size. The meat holds its moisture as well because we're going to cook it really quickly and really hot, and it'll hold its flavour as well. Now, the next thing I've got is my bowl, and pop your meat straight in. Now, to get it nice and crispy, we need to add some corn flour to it. But here's my little tip. I always put a little bit of salt in there first and some white pepper. It just helps to give it that sort of really hot, peppery sort of flavour, and dried chili. You can put as much in as you want, but I like it really hot and spicy, so I put a heap in there. Now what I'll do is just mix that around to make sure the chili and the pepper are mixed into the beef. Sometimes you can put a little bit of soy sauce in there, but I like to keep it fairly dry. What I like to do is actually marinate this for an hour or so, at least 3 hours, so that flavour gets in there. To get it nice and crispy, I'm going to add some corn flour, about 3 to 4 tablespoons. What that does is coats the beef so it's got a nice crisp outside to it, because I'm going to fry it to get it nice and crisp. And all you do is with your hands, just mix that around. It feels a little bit funny at first, but the corn flour actually gets in between there and coats it. Look at that. You've got a nice long piece of beef with lovely flavour in there and a nice coating of corn flour, so it'll go nice and crisp. Now all you need to do is deep fry it. I've got my oil here in a wok, and all I do is pop it in just to test it. Look at that. It's bubbling straight away. I know it's at the right temperature. Now all I do is just carefully, just put them in individually. Now, if you're doing this at home, be really, really careful. Deep frying is really dangerous. That's why you've got to be very careful. Make sure it's nice and hot and you're nice and safe. No kids around for this job. Now, the oil I'm using is rice bran oil, but you can use any sort of vegetable oil, whatever you want. The beauty of a wok is it actually holds a lot of flavour. It's great for frying. That's why the Asians love it so much. You can get so much heat into it. A little bit of a turnaround like that. Now, you can see it's starting to crisp up already. What I don't want to do is overload the wok. I want to be able to hold the heat in there so my beef becomes nice and crisp. So what I've done is I'm going to cook my beef in batches. I've got half in there now. When it's nice and crispy and golden, I'll take it out, put it on a plate, and I'll cook the other half. Second batch is sizzling away. I'll just clean my chopping board. And the next thing I'm going to do is make the sauce that puts the whole thing together. I've got a little bit of rice wine here, about a tablespoon of rice wine. I've got some sweet sherry here as well, about a tablespoon of that. I've got some soy sauce, about 2 tablespoons of that, and some rice vinegar, about 2 tablespoons of that. Some sugar, no guess, 2 tablespoons of that, and also some red bean paste, which I love. It just brings it all together and helps to thicken it up. Straight into my little bowl like this. Give that a bit of a whisk around so it's nicely stirred. And of course the taste. Beautiful. And I'm allowed to use my fingers down here. I'll pop that aside because this will bring the whole lot together. This will be a couple more minutes. So what I'll do is get the next stage ready. I'll have my garlic crushed and finely chopped like this. I'll leave a few little chunks in there and I'll put that aside like that. The next thing I've got is some ginger. I love ginger, and I'll just do a couple of slices like this, straight through like that. I like to leave it a little bit chunky, and I'll leave the skin on, because I actually want to bite into it. This is a pretty sort of robust, chunky, flavoursome, hot and spicy dish, so all these flavours go together really well, and they're quite pungent. The next thing I've got, of course, some chilli. And I've got some really hot red chilies here, which I'll cut and leave the skin on. And some green chilli. This is a really hot green chilli as well, and it's great colour as well. 2 chilies at once. Couldn't be hotter, just the way I like it. I've got a red onion. Slice this in half. Look at this, all together. Great colours here as well. And I'll just take the core out of it. And what I'm going to do is slice this on an angle so I get these lovely strips in here. All the way through like that. Now to give it a bit more colour, I've got a red and green capsicum. And all I'll do is I'll slice that off there. And I'll slice this piece off here. I just want to cut some strips and I want some lovely colour through it. So when you're eating this with your chopsticks, you've got these little strips here. And you know what? Today I'm not going to worry about any seeds at all. Now in about a minute or so, my beef will be cooked. I'll have all this cleaned up and I'll be ready to bring this whole thing together. Look at that, nice and hot and crispy, perfect. Now the next thing I'll do is I'll take my beef and pop it there. I'm going to use the wok again, but I'm going to strain the oil out of it. And we get out all those little bits there like that. And all we need to do is add a little bit of oil to the pan, straighten it like that, and this will be the beginning of my Szechuan chili beef. Garlic and ginger straight into the pan, nice and hot. You can see that sizzling straight away. The onions go in there, and all you need to do is give that a bit of a toss like that. You can use a wooden spoon if you want, but you know, a little bit of salt in there to get the flavour out of it. And of course the chili, the red chili, the green chili goes in here. This is where the dish comes from. These Szechuan peppercorns, hot and spicy. You can't use enough of them. Throw them around here so when they fry in the oil, you get that heat straight out of it. And why not put a little bit of white pepper in there as well. There we go, frying off nicely. I can smell the chili already. In go the peppers. Give them a toss around. You don't want to really cook them, you just want to warm them up a little bit so you still get the crispness. In goes the beef there like that and give it a bit of a toss around. Now what I'm going to do is grab some coriander that's here and a little bit of spring onion. Take the top off like that and then give that a really rough chop. And then some spring onions. And I'll just cut these on an angle like this, nice and sort of thick, because this will go all the way through it, and give it the freshness that it needs. Then into the pan like this, and then a little bit of sauce. I reckon you'll need probably 3-4 tablespoons of sauce straight in there like that. Give that one quick toss. Of course, a little bit of salt in there as well. Look at that. All the sauce is coating it. Then all I need to do is pop that onto my plate here like this. Look at that. Fantastic. All I need now is a little bit of steamed rice. Perfect. Some beef here. A little bit of rice. Now that's what I call a fantastic dish. Szechuan peppercorns really bring it together. They're easy to find in any Asian grocery store. And you know what? The mainstream supermarkets are stocking them on the shelves as well. They're easy to find, and once you start using them, you'll be using them on everything. I think this is a cracker of a dish. Nice and hot and spicy, lots of crispy beef, lots of vegetables, fresh flavours from herbs, some steamed rice to go with it. I could think of nothing